Have you seen the headlines? Canada opens the back door to China. It sounds like a dramatic political thriller, doesn't it? But what's really going on behind the scenes? Is Canada truly pivoting away from its long-standing allies and embracing a new partner? The reality is far more nuanced and, frankly, much more interesting than the sensational headlines suggest. This isn't a story about a sudden betrayal, but a calculated strategy for survival in a rapidly changing global economy. So, let's break down why Canada is reevaluating its trade relationships and what it really means for its future. For decades, the Canadian economy has been like a car with only one highway to drive on, the one leading straight to the United States. This deep integration has been the bedrock of Canada's prosperity. Our industries, our jobs, our entire economic planning's all been deeply intertwined with our southern neighbor. This relationship brought stability and growth, no doubt about it. But relying so heavily on one partner is a double-edged sword. It creates a structural dependence, making Canada vulnerable to every twist and turn in U.S. policy. And lately, those twists and turns have become more frequent and unpredictable. The United States has been shifting its focus inward, prioritizing domestic manufacturing, picking its trade partners more selectively, and using strategic industrial policies to boost its own economy. This America First approach, regardless of who is in the White House, has sent a clear signal to Ottawa. The old rules of the game are changing. Canada can't just assume the highway south will always be smooth and open. It needs to build some new roads. This is where the idea of trade diversification comes in. It's not a new concept for Canada, but it has gained a new sense of urgency. Think of it like a personal investment portfolio. You wouldn't put all your money into a single stock, right? That would be too risky. You diversify to protect yourself from shocks. In the same way, Canadian policymakers are trying to build a more resilient economy by spreading their bets and engaging with multiple global partners. It's a long-term strategy to ensure Canada's economic stability, no matter what happens in one particular market. Now, let's talk about China. Within this grand strategy of diversification, China is an unavoidable player. It's one of the world's largest manufacturing hubs and a massive consumer market. Whether we're talking about electric vehicles, clean energy, technology, or the countless industrial components that make our modern world run, China is at the center of it all. So, when you hear about Canada adjusting tariffs or expanding regulatory dialogues with China, it's not about forging some grand ideological alliance. It's about pragmatic economics. These moves are designed to achieve a few key things. First, to open up new markets for Canadian exporters who need more customers beyond the US. Second, to increase competition within Canada by allowing more access for certain goods. The hope is to drive down prices for consumers who are struggling with a high cost of living. And third, it's about industrial modernization. Access to different technologies and components can help Canadian industries become more productive and competitive on the global stage. Domestically, these are framed as technical adjustments, not a radical shift in foreign policy. They're about managing the economy, not picking a side in a geopolitical showdown. However, let's be very clear, this is not a free-for-all. Canada's approach is cautious and heavily regulated. Engaging with China on trade doesn't mean throwing the doors wide open without any checks or balances. Canadian authorities are still laser-focused on national security screenings for investments, maintaining strong regulatory oversight, and making sure everything aligns with international trade rules. It is a delicate balancing act. How do you reap the economic benefits of openness while protecting yourself from the potential risks? Canada is trying to find that sweet spot, acknowledging that deeper participation in global supply chains comes with both opportunities and challenges. So, this isn't about abandoning old friends. Canada continues to coordinate closely with traditional allies, such as the US and European nations, on security, governance, and regulatory standards. What we're seeing is a desire to operate in a new kind of world, a multipolar economic environment where Flexibility and having multiple options are your greatest assets. It's less about choosing sides and more about creating a strong and independent Canadian side. This strategy isn't unique to Canada either. It's part of a broader global trend. Many middle-sized economies, from Australia to South Korea, are finding themselves in a similar position, caught between the competing interests of major powers. Instead of being forced to pick a team, these countries are carving out their own paths. They are engaging selectively with different partners, including China, to maintain their economic autonomy and pursue their own national interests. Canada's strategy is a textbook example of this modern middle power playbook. So, when we zoom out, the story of Canada's recent trade adjustments with China is less of a geopolitical bombshell and more of an economic adaptation. We live in a world defined by slower growth, higher interest rates, and supply chains that are constantly being disrupted by everything from pandemics to political tensions. In this environment, governments are under immense pressure to deliver economic stability for their citizens, and a key part of that is avoiding overexposure to any single external partner. The big question, of course, is, will this strategy work? Success will depend on careful execution, robust oversight, and the government's ability to consistently balance economic openness with long-term national security and interests. It's a tightrope walk, and the stakes are high. But what's undeniable is that Canada is responding to the world as it is, not as it was. It's adapting to a more complex, interconnected, and competitive global economy. The quiet evolution of Canada's trade policy isn't a sign of weakness or a shift in allegiance. It's a sign that Canada is playing the long game, strategically positioning itself for resilience and prosperity in an uncertain future. This isn't about opening a back door. It's about building a house with multiple entrances, ensuring that Canada can thrive no matter which way the global winds blow. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown helpful, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the economic and political forces shaping our world. See you in the next one.